on any device.
Welcome back. President Obama now relenting on his highly criticized plan to do away with 529 college savings plans. Republicans called for the president to withdraw the plan, but it could have been Democratic opposition that really put it over the edge. The Washington Post reporting House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi personally pressed to drop the proposal on board Air Force One as she flew to Saudi Arabia with the president. Joining me now from Capitol Hill is Republican Congresswoman Kristi Noem of South Dakota. Congresswoman, good to have you on the program. Thanks very much.
I appreciate the invitation.
Your observation to the president dropping this idea that he would tax the earnings in the 529 plans.
Well, I'm glad he dropped the idea. It would have hit the middle class the hardest because they're the ones trying to put away money so their kids can go to school. So very happy to hear that news, although his plan is full of a lot of tax increases that would not be good for this country, especially since he doesn't use the revenue to pay down our deficit.
So, I mean, we still are left with the question of what to do with taxes. There's a lot of hope and optimism that perhaps the new Congress can, in fact, work on a new tax plan to take corporate taxes lower, which of course are the highest in the industrialized world right now. What do you think is possible?
Well, I think that is possible if we can get some agreement from the Democratic Party as well. We do have the highest corporate income taxes in the world, and that causes us to be uncompetitive on the world market. It causes businesses to look overseas to where they establish their headquarters. We really want to create an environment where businesses can be here and thrive and put people back to work and create jobs. That's really, truly how we're going to get everybody getting into higher payer jobs and make sure that they have the opportunity to pursue that American dream.
So what do you think then are sort of the low-hanging fruits that perhaps the president and Congress can work together on? I mean, Keystone Pipeline obviously comes to mind. Do you think that's viable, that in fact we will see that passed?
Well, we sent it over to the Senate the first week that the House was back in session of this Congress. The Senate is still debating that bill. I would hope that the president would consider it, although if you look at his State of the Union address, he certainly did not sound positive. Listen, energy production has been the bright spot in our economy. The vast majority of new jobs in this country were created because of energy production. But it wasn't on federal lands. It was on state lands, and it was in states that people made the decision to pursue using those American energy resources, even though the administration is pushing hard back against it.
I guess, you know, the question now becomes, with oil prices having fallen as much as they have, 55% lower, does the urgency become less pressing to have more oil?
I still think that it would be a huge benefit to us to get the Keystone Pipeline because it's so much more affordable to move that oil. We can move it through the pipeline at about $7, where it would cost by rail $15 to $30. So it certainly is a much more affordable way to do that. And even though gas prices have lowered and taken some of the urgency off, we certainly need to pursue supporting our own American energy supply rather than relying on the Middle East, which is what we've done.
Right. And I guess you could argue that the reason that oil prices are low at this point is because of more supply. So that would only be a further positive. Let's talk trade. There are a number of trade deals on the docket that we could see actually get done. Is that an area of optimism for the two sides to work together?
We do. We have a couple of trade agreements that we're working on. I sit on the Ways and Means Committee, and right now we're going to start debating a trade promotion authority, which is an authority we give to the administration to enter into the final agreements on some of these trade policies that we have. We're hopeful that Republicans and Democrats can come together and support giving the administration that kind of authority, because there's really no way to finalize these deals unless we give the administration some of the opportunities to negotiate some of the barriers that we face with other countries. But once that happens, it comes back to Congress for another vote of approval, up or down, and so we have the opportunity to be that check and balance once these trade agreements come together.
Do you see a different rapport between the president and you and your colleagues in Congress?
No. You know, to be honest with you, I haven't. The State of the Union address was disappointing for me because it was very confrontational. The fact that he set a record with the amount of times he mentioned veto was frustrating, because the American people very much want us to cooperate and to work together to deal with some of these challenges that they're facing. They want a healthy economy. They want opportunities for their kids. They're trying to get by living paycheck to paycheck, and it's almost as though the president doesn't recognize that we've got to have some solutions that get put into place so that they can start to see some of those benefits.
I don't know. I'm baffled by that. That's Congresswoman, good to have you on the program. Thanks very much. We look forward to talking more.